Hi you guys, so this one's for the men out there. This one's for the guys who are inquisitive or curious about maybe picking up a yoga practice but not knowing where to start or having inquiring questions about it. I'm going to hopefully go through a lot of stuff for you in this video that will put your mind at ease, and how to pick a studio, how to pick a style and practice of yoga that works for you, what's the etiquette at a studio, so that when you walk in that door you feel confident and comfortable. This is kind of a woman's world, although wherever I travel in the States or worldwide, I drop into little studios everywhere. As a teacher, as a practitioner, I am curious and want to know what kind and style of yoga people are practicing around the globe. And so I have a pretty good sampling from doing that. And that two things are going on. Yoga is very similar wherever you go, is what I found, first of all. And secondly, outside of the States, now there are pockets in the States where men show up and represent and practice yoga beautifully in the States, but outside the States, I just came back from Ireland and England, and I went to about 4 different studios during my travels there, and there was definitely a higher male ratio in those classes than there were in the States. The male to female ratio was 60-40, which is really high ratio, 40% males, about 60% females. So yay, men were showing up and representing, and it's really cool because yoga adds a whole nother dimension to your physical acumen, your workout, your regimen, and your life. And I think men are missing out on this beautiful, rich, lush area, and it can really, really bring some benefits to your life. Like balance. In general, men tend to have higher centers of gravity, so balance is a little bit more challenging for them, and they're not used to being as deeply into their body, I think, as women. And yoga is a practice that can really drop them into their body and let you feel and get sensorily deeper into your body, that mind-body connection, and to just chill you out. Men are generally, we have yin and yang. Yang is go, 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 do, plan, steps, methodology, end results, goal-oriented. And if you have a lot of that in you, picking up a practice like yoga that teaches you and holds a space for you to get a little bit more yin helps you to be able to just chill, relax, let go, have this place of the sanctuary, because that's what you get when you go to a yoga studio. It's like holding the space, the sanctuary, where you get to just chill out and connect internally and not have an end result or an end goal, and to just kind of let that go. Where this, as a man, you may appreciate this, where you may have felt this in other spaces after you have an orgasm. Women often say, oh God, he checked out. I don't even know where he goes. He just disappears after his orgasm, and they could get irritated. But really, I think that's a beautiful thing. It is a place where men can, for sometimes the only time in their life, just like they completely decompress. It's like they completely come into this yin, present moment state, and they go inward, and it's just this relaxed, beautiful place for them to play in, that they may not get to play in other places, because men in general are expected to go, 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 do, accomplish, be this, be the man, do all those societal norms. And so, for example, if you're looking for a class that you just want to go in and chill out and not have to worry about, what am I going to look like? Do I know the postures? I'm not flexible enough. I don't have enough balance. Forget all that. Go to like a yin restorative yoga class, and it will help you open up the deep fascia and tissue of your body. You only do 5 or 6 postures. You're completely supported by props and pillows. You get to stay in the posture for like 5 minutes and just soak it in and enjoy. And during that time, you're getting into the deep fascia and tissue, and you're opening up, and you're stretching, and you're working on your range of motion and flexibility. And it's not competitive. It's completely an inward process. And so you want to start looking up styles and types of yoga that you might want to explore, and explore a lot of them, and explore a lot of different teachers, because you will resonate with different teachers. And it's important that you feel comfortable in the space that you practice in. You feel comfortable with the teacher. You feel comfortable with the style. It's the style that suits you. Some practices like Bikram is like all balls out, heat, 26 postures, eyes open, totally, going for it. Where a yin or restorative class is like completely inward, and you're working on, there's this beautiful meditative component. There's this beautiful slow yin component. So there are just as many different styles of yoga out there as there are types of people. So find what works for you, find what style you are attracted to or drawn to. And it may be the style that you don't think, that you think, oh, I want to go to do this kind of yoga, but open your mind a little bit, expand a little bit, and try different styles, because you'll be surprised one that you read a description for, you go to, and you think, oh, I wouldn't want to go do that, and you actually take the class and you're like, oh, that was so delicious. So try different styles like Hatha yoga, Bikram yoga, Kundalini yoga, Yin yoga, restorative yoga, Iyengar yoga. That's a great one to use props and blocks and bolsters. Tools. We use tools too in yoga, and they're props or tools. They're not crutches. They're tools. They get the job done in the proper way so that you can maximize the leverage points of the body and the muscle and align everything up and get to a place where you're in integrity with the posture and with your level without compromising, without causing injury. We use tools like blocks and bolsters and straps, and they're so useful. So don't be afraid as a man walking into a yoga studio to use your tools. It's like you're gonna go do a job and say, I'm gonna use this shitty little wrench versus this super cool power tool. Like, no, pick up the power tool, pick up the block, use it, the strap, use it. Who cares? Because this is the really cool thing. This is a very individual practice. So when you're actually on that mat and in that room, nobody gives a shit about what you're doing. They're trying to focus inward on what they're doing. And that's what you want to do. Focus inward. Let the outside world go. Because this is, even though we come together to a yoga studio to kind of connect with other people's energy, and you'll feel the energy, there's a particular kind of energy when you practice in a studio with other people versus practicing on your own. But the practice itself is a very individual practice. You're there to work on your own shit. You're there to learn to know thyself, know your strengths, your limitations, your quirks, your mind's tricks and habits, to learn about yourself and grow and evolve and use this practice as a tool. So if you're starting out, find a studio that you want to go to, drop in. Most studios I found around the world now, pretty universally, will allow you to drop in for anywhere from $5 to $15. And you can drop in. You don't have to make a commitment. Just tell them you want to do a drop-in class. A lot of places for a first-time drop-in for new students, free, so you can go try out one class for free. And then get there early, talk to the teacher and say, I'm new, I came to this class because it looked appealing to me, because I read the description and this is why I'm taking this class, and I'm new, and could you give me some advice? And here are some conditions that I have. Maybe you have some physical illnesses or past injuries or something that you want to talk to the teacher about, just so that they're aware of where you're at and can help you out. And that's where props and tools come in, because they can say, oh, well, you might want to use a block for this or whatever, or they'll get you tools and set them up near your yoga mat for you. And when they cue something that they know that you may want to use a tool or a prop for, then they can cue that for you, and they know you have that specific condition or past injury or something you're working through, and they can just cue that fairly easily, versus you walking in the studio and being really shy and guarded and closed off and not telling them. Get the benefit from the class. So speak to the instructor beforehand and get to know them. Kind of feel their vibe and their energy and see if you feel comfortable with them. And then pick out all your props and tools. Get there early enough to set up your mat and set up your space, your individual space, so you're not rushing and you have time. Wear comfortable clothing, something that you can stretch and move in, and be prepared to take off your socks and shoes. Yoga is a practice done in bare feet. definitely want a yoga mat to practice on. Those are used so that your feet don't slip out from underneath you. And as a man, you may actually want to, depending on how tall you are, get an extra long mat because your levers may be a little bit longer because your legs are longer. That's another consideration to think about. And then when you're coming into the yoga room, I always like to kind of stop and view the room, maybe ask the teacher where they stand in the room so you know orientation-wise where is the front of the room. And then you can kind of view that room and go, okay, I feel like I'm like a corner person. Ironically, I teach a lot and I'm in the front of the room when I'm teaching, but when I'm practicing on my own, I like to just kind of be in the back corner of the room or in a certain spot in the room. So find your space that you're going to be comfortable. And then the other thing I'll say is I talk to men a lot and they're a little bit apprehensive about going to take a yoga class because they feel like I'll be the only guy in the room, or I'll feel like I'm the only guy in the room with a bunch of women. Just let go of that. Etiquette for coming into any yoga studio is all the same. Now, I can say that universally across the globe. You go in, you find your spot. Before people are kind of settling in, they're getting into their meditative state. Sometimes you'll see people come in and just sit down and meditate. They're kind of dropping in, they're holding that space for their practice. And then when you're practicing through the class, it's, again, individual practice. This is just about you. Just forget everybody else is in the room, listen to the cues from the teacher, and start to go internally and move in sync with your rhythms and your breath. If the teacher moves on and you feel like, oh, this is a delicious pose, my body needs it, stay there. Give yourself the permission to do that. This is your own practice. You don't have to be with the class with Susie or John or whoever else is. Go at your own speed, go at your own pace. And then after the class, the cool thing about etiquette here is it is a really beautiful community where after the class you can say hello and connect and communicate. I find that usually that's the best time if you're going there and you have questions or you want to talk to people or you want to communicate, or that's the best time to do it is after the practice. You've just all experienced this beautiful practice and it's a great time to make eye contact or smile or communicate, and that's the best time to do it in a way that like, wow, we just shared this space together. That was a great class or great practice. And speaking of that, I'll tell you, every class that you go to, you'll often hear at the end the teachers and the students say namaste, and sometimes they'll take a bow or they'll put their hands in prayer pose or namaste, or Ujjali mudra is this mudra, is what this is called. And they'll say namaste. And really that's just a greeting or a recognition. I came here, I held this space, I honored this space in me, this practice, and you honored it in you, and you're just recognizing, you're just saying, hey, that was super cool to practice with you. Have a great day, you know? So don't let that throw you off or think it's a ritual or a weird thing. It's something that's kind of universal. It is those universal things about yoga as I study and go across the globe that it is what makes it beautiful and a practice that we can all share and enjoy together, both men and women. Namaste, you guys.